is TWiP. Right now is approximately where that edit point will be for the people that didn't tune in live. So nobody the folks that didn't tune in live will not know about all that secret stuff that we just talked about. All right, let's bring up the screen here. So here we are in the TWiP Pro community. You know what, I should just go ahead and refresh this real quick. So let's make sure we got the latest ones in here. We're sorted by date created. All right, first up is James Glenny. And James says, how do you defend your personal space?
That's actually really cool. I mean, maybe that would be defense in and of itself. I mean, if somebody in my neighborhood saw you standing there dressed like that, they wouldn't come over and talk to you. So
yeah, there you go. Social, protection through just, who's that weird guy over there? But that's a kill, a kilt, of course. Is that a musket he's carrying? That's a musket.
It looks like a musket. Yeah, I was just going to comment on that. Like that's actually really pretty cool. I love that right there.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, first, we judge these on the merit of is it in the topic sort of realm, and also is it the technical aspects of the image and creative aspects of the image, those sort of three things. So first of all, yes, I believe it 100% is in the personal space topic, but what do you think about the creativity and the overall shot?
I love the overall shot. I mean, creativity is such a hard subject matter to dive into, but I'm wondering, like, is this the best timing to have taken this shot? Meaning that, if you would have been standing sort of at attention, looking down the sights. I mean, the idea that the gun itself is almost perfectly horizontal. I feel like it would be better if it was a little bit off. Like tilted down a little bit, tilted up, something like that. Not this harsh horizontal angle that we're creating from his body and the firearm. I love the fact that his thumb is on the hammer, that he's looking down at it. I wish there was more light in his face, though. Mm-hmm. Kind of missing that. It's a little bit shadowed and it's a little flat. I mean, it's not flat as far as like tonal range, but it's flat as far as like depth.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with everything you said. I also like the fact that the musket is horizontal with the lines in the background, the brickwork back there. I like that. That's actually kind of cool. But in terms of like you said, the tonal range, I want to see a little bit more separation other than the reds of the reds and whites of our character in there. I want to see like the background suppressed a little more. I know there's a little bit of blur back there, but it seems like he could pop out a little bit more. I don't know if that means a vignette or some sort of color treatment, desaturation of the background and, clarity on the foreground. I don't know, but just to separate them a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, the lighting in this is what makes this image have less dimension than it could have, because the lighting on the foreground and the background are the same. And so it's not creating a lot of dimension or a lot of depth in the image. Yeah. I do like the presentation. I like the key line. It's nice. It gives us a nice finish to the image. I would clean up a couple things in the blue sky. Right, like dead center, camera right of our subject. It looks like it's probably the top of a piece of grass or something. Mm-hmm. But it feels like it might be a dust spot or something. Just clean that up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I see that up there. Yeah, right around here.
Yeah, and Trevor saying that the lens might be a little bit too long, and that's true. It's compressing the image, which makes that wall feel very close to our subject.
Very true. Very true. Yep. Cool shot, though. All right. And that was James. Thank you, James.
Yes.
All right. Next shot up is from our friend Michael DeRay. I like this shot a lot. Michael says, this critique was especially tough. I live in a 35-foot fifth wheel camper with a wife, a dog, and 2 small children at least 4 to 5 days a week. That's challenging. So personal space does not exist. Then I realized that when I'm out alone just taking photos, that it is as close to personal space anyone could ever need. Yeah, that's cool. Look at that. You almost feel like you're out with him. I could imagine the chaos of being in that 35-footer with all those people and animals, everybody running around, chit-chattering, coming in and out. And then you just grab your camera and walk out to this scene, and all you smell is like, freshly cut grass and fresh air and crickets. That's got to be therapeutic.
Yeah. This, and it was funny. I was reading the comments. It said, Alicia in the comments says, "This looks like home to me." This actually looks like home to me as well, because I'm from Northeast Indiana. I'm from Fort Wayne, and so that whole region is this. My cousin is a farmer, and so we go back there. Like this is where I was born, where I grew up. So I've always loved this type of space and this type of environment. The image for me is really wonderful, and I like all the elements. I feel like we need a little bit more primary and secondary hook. The sky is competing with the foreground, so I would probably take off about half the sky, because I think the foreground is really where the magic is. And then decide whether you want the barn or the tractor to be your primary. I'm thinking the barn and the silo are my primary, and I would dodge them a little bit to bring out a little bit of the contrast and brilliance there. And then the secondary would be the tractor for scale. Yeah, but the composition and stuff is wonderful. I love that. Yeah.
I like that. You think that sky is real?
Yeah. It does. Yeah. It feels like a Midwest sky to me. They always have beautiful skies there. Every time I'm there, I come home with like hundreds of shots of clouds.
Yeah, because we don't have those things here. Every now and then we get clouds. We get weather every now and then, but yeah, we don't get those puffy things in the sky.
Yeah, our smog just runs them off.
Yeah, exactly. So is there anything on this image that you would have changed?
Just cropping the sky. I think cropping the sky and a little dodging and burning to create, different layers of depth based on lighting. Bring out that barn. I think that would be really nice. Bring up those highlights in the barn.
I agree. I like it. Cool. By the way, did you pick a favorite of all the shots this week?
I did pick a favorite.
Don't tell me. Obviously, don't tell me. All right. So the next one is from Karen Sweeney. Karen Sweeney says, it's important for Drakes to check their personal space or it's off to the quack. Sorry, I meant urologic oncologist. Oh, man. Jeez. It's, a urologic oncologist. Okay.
It's
Is that
fun.
what she said? Did I read that right? Wait, urologic oncologist. Yes, that's what.
You just wanted to say it again.
I did. Well, I wanted to make sure. My brain is trying to decipher what that is. I know what oncology is, unfortunately. Urologic, I can guess what that means.
Right.
What did you think of this shot? Personal space, remember?
It's a fun shot. I think that without a description or a title of any kind, it would be hard to know that this image is in the personal space topical category. So it's hard to find that. But it's fun, and this is sort of evidence of water rolling off a duck's back.
That's me. This is me. This should be my icon. This is how I live my life. Nothing really bothers me. It's water off my back. If it can't get through these feathers, you don't deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
I was looking at this and I was thinking, along the lines of personal space, I would have loved to have seen more of the space around the quack, and showing kind of the lone quack in a lower third, or not lower third, but a rule of thirds intersection or something. But just to show that it is alone and it's doing its own thing in the space, that kind of would fit more into the personal space idea. But I get what she's saying. It's looking underwater, checking out what's going on, make sure nothing from that vector is entering the duck's personal space. What about the color treatment? What do you think of, like, on the processing side? What do you think of that?
Yeah, there's a lot of competing colors. I mean, you have a lot of green, right, because of the pond and the green on the duck, and there's or the drake, as Karen put it. There's just some green overtones. It's just there's not a lot of color to draw us in, and so the use of color isn't necessarily helping us tell the story.
Yeah, I hear you. I like it though. It's cool. Cool shot. All right, that was Karen Sweeney. Thank you, Karen Sweeney. Next up is Nora Zanotinus. And Nora says, personal space redefined. Yeah, welcome to the new.
Yeah.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Yeah.
What quote is that from? Come on.
Real.
Wait, what movie is that from? Come on.
Matrix, come on.
Joshua's going to know the quote for that. You don't know?
I do know that was Morpheus when right after Neo took the pill. Yep. And they're sitting in the wasteland in the chairs, those red leather chairs.
That's right. I want one of those chairs. That would be killer for my setup here, wouldn't it?
I know.
That would be great to have one of those chairs and like a glass of cognac, and just do a weekly podcast with talking with sunglasses on, doing the Morpheus voice.
It would be fun.
But I digress. What do you think of the shot?
This is one of those kind of shots that a year ago this would not make any sense to most of us. Right. So this is so timely. And from here going forward, something so simple has so much meaning for so many people. Right. We've all seen this and whether it makes you comfortable knowing that you have space around you or you're uncomfortable because you're being told to stand on that space. I really appreciate this image. I really do. I like it. And I'm glad that she submitted it. Yeah. It's a tough subject to photograph because it feels so flat without any dimension. I feel like I wish there was a pair of feet in there or, a leg or, part of a human that's not quite on the space. Or I feel like photojournalistically, there's more elements to this that I wish I had. I wish there was a human in there.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like the graphic of it. I like the idea that it's illustrating, social distancing, obviously. So this is very much within the zeitgeist of what's going on globally right now, but also just the sort of juxtaposition of the feet facing in one direction and the arrow pointing in the other direction, kind of the nonconformist, of the group. This is kind of like you, Troy Miller. This is a shot of you, man. This is you. Everyone wants to go, to the bottom left, and you're going to the other direction completely.
Well, and I have to ask. It doesn't look like this photo was taken from 6 feet away. So, like, were you walking up to your space to stand, or did you sneak up to somebody just walked away? There's so many ideas, but I like it, and the crop, even the extra space in the top right, I enjoy that. I think that's important there. This is an image that I would love to see in a series. I think that this image is something that's very timely, like you said. It's the current zeitgeist, and I see this as current art for our time.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, who knew, right? Last year, this time, who knew that we would all know what this means?
Yeah, and not what it means, but the implications thereof, right? It's not just like a simple stand in this line 1 or 2 and whatever. It's like, personal space and safety and health and all these other things,
Yeah.
And the emotional reaction that go to that.
When you stand on these things, Troy, do you put your feet exactly?
I don't.
You don't stand on them?
No. I in protest, I stand just off of them, left or right. But I'm keeping my distance. But I refuse to stand on the sticker that you put down there for me. I'm going to stand just off the sticker.
Oh man, it is so weird, man. Not to digress, but the entire world can relate to this. But it is so weird that, like, we were at what was it, a couple of weeks ago? We were buying a new bike for my daughter, and we were at this bike shop in San Jose, Mike's Bikes. Craig Colvin will know what I'm talking about. So we were at Mike's Bikes, and they had these little things on the ground and the sidewalk because they're only allowing a certain number of people in the store at a time. So, it was a nice Sunday. So we're just hanging out, all 3 of us hanging out there, acting stupid, standing in line or whatever. And then this guy behind us was not on his spot. He was, I mean, not that you had to be on your spot, but he was clearly very close to us and my daughter, so I was just like getting anxiety, and I'm like, dude, can you just like take a step back? I don't know where you've been, So it's interesting, but like last year, like we were saying, I would have been like, whatever, hey dude, whatever, This year I'm like, I don't know what you got, man. So,
right.
Step. step off. So,
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's going to go forward forever. And I'm really hoping that we see the humans more, right? Because now we're aware of everybody's sort of space bubble. My hope is that going forward, when we're in a space, when we start to feel safer, that we realize and respect other humans and people around us. They're not just things that are in our way, right?
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. I'm kind of getting off topic, but
yeah, well, we should do a whole podcast on that because it's very interesting. You know, as a complete non sequitur tangent, I've been on this. You know, every now and then I get on these exploratory missions with documentaries on Netflix and YouTube. And the latest one was understanding. And Stephen Sharf will nod his head in agreement on this one. I've been off on this tangent of understanding the world of fungi and
that was a cool documentary.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah, and psilocybin and what those do and that whole world of how they communicate. It's just scary and fascinating. Apparently, we're always decomposing. It's just a battle to slow it down. Right? So we're in a constant, step of decomposition. All right, cool.
Trevor brings us back to topic. Trevor says, I would actually edit out the lines between the floor tiles. You know, I thought about that, and I thought, yes, let's edit those out. But I think that might give us a foundation and perspective. Mm-hmm. My fear is that if we edit out the tiles, it's going to feel like those two icons, if you will, are floating. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I agree, because those lines give you just a little hint of orientation. Without those, the only orientation clues you have are the lighting and the sort of, how distorted those circles are, and your brain can kind of figure out the orientation based on that. We need those. I think we need those lines in there to kind of tell you what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was my first instinct too, Trevor. I thought, ooh, take those lines out. But then I thought, I don't know. I would have to, if it were my image, I would take them out and then look at them and see if I like them or not.
Yep, cool. Yeah, why not? Photoshop, right? So we've got Stephen Sharp says about fungi. He says fungi or fun. Yeah, it's fungi, right? Fungi. Fungi are important because without them, we would not have beer or wine. Yes, we would not. Or penicillin, right? Which could cause all kinds of havoc.
There's so many. Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah. That's a whole different thing. It's fascinating. It is. The whole thing is fascinating to me. But I'm easily amused. All right. Next shot up is from, thank you, Nora, Craig Stanfley. Lack of personal space, he calls this one.
I love that.
Yeah, look at that. This is cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I have those socks on right now, by the way.
You do not.
I do. I'm looking at my feet. Look. All right, let's prove it. Look at this. Wait. Dickies right there. See that?
Oh my God.
So, hey, it's a Northern California thing. You wouldn't understand.
In all the years of you doing podcasts and interviews, have you ever shown your feet?
Never.
Okay.
Never. This is a first, the podcasting first. Hey, Oh
my God. Okay, Craig Stanfley.
Yeah, I know. Somebody already screenshotted that. Yeah, Craig Stanfley shot. I know what you're gonna say. Can I just say what you're gonna say? Something. Yeah. I don't know what you're gonna say in total, but I know you're gonna say something about that nose being cut off. The dog snout right there. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, out of all the things, that's the one thing that I struggle with the most with this image. And it just that's part of the dog's face. Like we need I'm trying to think of his dog's name now. It totally skipped my mind.
What, the dog's name? What, was it Dalmatian?
Yeah, Polly. Polly. I think it's Polly.
Oh, Polly. Yeah.
Polly's nose. Yeah, we need Polly's nose in the shot, but that's it. I love the shot. I love the black and white, just the tips of his feet. Yeah, such storytelling. I love it.
Yeah, this is cool. And the wide angle lens right up there. But yeah, the nose.
Yeah. and this is probably one of those images that really work well in monochromatic because the shower curtain, I'm assuming that's what that is in the back, probably has colors in it. The brick has colors. The camo watch band that Stephen Sharf is pointing out. There's so many colors that I think monochromatic nature, the black and white really helps a lot. So I like the image. I like the storytelling, the personal space. This topic is great. We just need Polly's nose.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Craig Colvin, thank you, sir. And Polly. Next up is Mark Charette. Mark Charette says, what's a personal space? What's it to me? Where I sit for hours motionless, yet in motion is definitely personal. And arriving home and having a look around before getting out of that car seat is something I do think about as safe yet dangerous. Having spent time in a moving metal bubble, it leaves me thankful, but sometimes a bit cold. Look at that. Bring that up.
Very nice. That is really cool. Yeah.
This is cool. This is Charette using his superpowers of 360.
Yeah. Being in my vehicle, being in my truck is one of my favorite places to be. One, it's the best stereo that I have access to. So everything sounds amazing in there. But it's a really good time for me to think. So, the personal space thing about being in your vehicle is makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, my vehicle it's literally like a therapy chamber because it's the one place where I can put on my music or my podcasts or my whatever. I can put the temperature, granted if no one's else in the car with me, put the temperature at my setting, roll the windows down or keep them up, turn left if I want to, and no one will say anything, right?
Why are you going this way? Why this way?
It's shorter if you go around the other way, take the shortcut. It's quicker.
I love the image. I think that Mark did great. I don't even know how I would do this if I had to do this for something. The crop is great. It's nice and tight right to the edge. We have lots of definition, which really shows it off really well. Images like this for me, though, I always wish that there was a surprise in the image. And I kind of refer to it as a secondary hook. The primary is obviously our subject, but something else like a camera sitting on the passenger seat or, something of that nature, or like a dog outside the window looking in, little things that we don't notice right away. But after we look a little bit, we're like, oh, look at there. Yeah. That's really cool. Like, Mark's looking at us in the rearview mirror or, just little things like that, little telltale
like an Easter egg, like a little Easter egg in there that you have to kind of search to find. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much so. But I dig it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Cool. Do you think a shot like this? I'm curious. Well, first of all, I like the shot, and I like the fact that here you can see sort of the sun rays coming in there. That is really cool. I'm assuming that's real though. That's not real? Even if it's not real, I like it. Doesn't matter. Does it have to be real in order for us to like it? I mean, come on.
Well, okay, no, but I'm being a little presumptuous saying it's not real because it doesn't look real.
Okay, Charette, you gotta chime in. Did you luminar that window?
I was gonna see if he's in the. I think he luminared the window.
Yeah. But even if he didn't, I like the fact that he put it in there. I like that. I was gonna ask you though. This shot has a natural vignette, obviously, or a natural border, however you want to look at it. Do you think a shot like this would benefit from a keyline, or would that just break it? With the square of the crop already, and then actually trapping it further.
You're just trying to get me in trouble with all the anti-keyliners, is what you're doing.
No,
I think
I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there.
I think that every finished image deserves some form of presentation, whether it's a key line or it's an extra matte or it's a specific amount of negative space to offset it. It needs
Matt.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's not, to me, it's not finished until it's finished, and that's sort of the finishing work. Like,
oh, okay, let's explore this just for a couple of seconds. So, are you the guy that you hate modern sort of, those metal prints with no frame, no border that just kind of float on the wall? Do you not like those?
No, I love those. I love those, and actually, Peter Levshin, and we have back from your artist collection, and everything we do is acrylic that hangs in the middle of the wall, right? But it's offset from the wall, and in a three-dimensional world that we live in, we can see that difference. When you're looking at something on the web, or you're looking at something like in a gallery where the wall is all the same color and it's all flat, how are you going to set that away? Maybe you space it. All of my images that I sell to my clients, they all have sloppy borders on them. We talked about this once before.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah,
and it looks like that. That's my sloppy border. See, there's
now you're just showing off right now. Now you're just showing off. And about the sloppy border, and I like it. I like the look of the sloppy border, but from my standpoint, when I put on my artist hat, I feel like those tools like borders and vignettes and key lines and, whatever else you decide to do to the image after the final processing of the, the colors in the image, when you're just kind of putting on that superfluous stuff, it feels like seasoning to me, right? It kind of feels like, everything I eat has to have a lot of salt on it, or else I don't like the flavoring of it. Not everybody's going to like salt, so it's like, do you really want to season everything to your taste? Right? That's kind of what I think. Whereas when it's a after the fact frame, someone may love black frames only. That's it. They love black, thick bordered frames to put their prints in. And other people may love those ornate Baroque looking frames, which is okay. But you get to present the final work the way that you like versus being forced to by the artist. I don't know. That's
right.
That's
well, to be fair, and because I understand that, in our competitions, presentation is not going to be a factor in the winning. Because that's, to me, that's like what you said. That's that spice. Like we want to make sure that you can, plate and present and cook and deliver accordingly.
But it's interesting, on the other side of that coin, Troy, is like, to use the salt analogy, you may prefer your spaghetti with a lot of salt on it, but if you're the cook, people are coming to you because you tend to oversalt in your dishes a lot. If they want different tasting food, they go to a different restaurant, but your signature style is salty, right? Like, I don't know. I can't reconcile that. I can't reconcile what's better. Do you give them a meal and put the seasoning on the table and let them season to taste? Or do you present it as the chef intended? And if you don't like it, go to another restaurant. Like, I don't know.
I'm very much of the latter. I think that in order to define your style and who you are, you create your work the way you want to create it, do whatever you want to do to it, whether it's a restaurant or it's fine art. And the people that love that would be the ones that come to you, and then they appreciate that. And then it's also easier for you to create because it's your style. It's what you want to do. And that's how I've always done my photography. That's how I've always created my stuff. And that's why I put a sloppy border on my work. I like it. You don't have to order it that way, but I show everything with sloppy borders. And I've gotten crap for it, but you know what? I don't care. It's made me a good living for 30 years with that sloppy border, like whatever. So create the way you want to create, and then people will come to you. So
yeah, Trevor says, yes, it's my taste, just like the soup guy, the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. Eat my soup the way I serve it or leave. Yeah, no soup for you. And then Stephen Sharp says, I'm with Troy on this one. The presentation grounds the photo for me. It's like the overture to an opera. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So
All right. All right. Well, that's going to be an unanswerable question, right? That's like, what is pornography? No one knows what pornography is, you know?
I think that
So,
I think it's a fun topic because we can go back and forth, but it doesn't really define the art itself. It's just
no.
an addition to, and really what it is we as artists need to express ourselves the way that we see our art the best, and let people come to us. Don't try to make art just for somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree. You're making soup for you, not for everybody else.
You don't like it?
You go somewhere else.
No frame for you. No frame for you, baby.
No frame for you. All right. We're having too much fun. Next shout up is from Joshua Summerfelt. Joshua says, and I saw Joshua editing this, by the way. He says, I may have invaded this dragonfly's personal space.
Wow.
Yes. Look at this. Bring that up.
Dang. That is so cool.
There we go. Look at that. That is just ridiculous. That is like an aircraft right there.
Yeah, you can see the lenses in the eyes. You know, you can see all those little facets, and
yeah, you can see how deep the what do they call them? The oh god, Joshua, chime in the chat. What are those eyes called? And you said it during your Twitch stream. I forgot what those are. What are they called? It's a certain an insect eye. It's escaping me.
It's a component or a I don't know. It's
something. It's a big like 2 or 3 syllable word like that.
Oh, that's why I don't know it. I'm only good up to 2 syllables.
Exactly. Anything else is just superfluous. Look, yeah, compound eyes. Thank you. Compound eyes. That's what it was. Thank you for chiming in, Joshua.
That was close. I got the first 3 letters.
You said composite eyes, didn't you? Composite.
I got close.
Oh man! All right, so let's talk about the shot. First of all, what I want to know when I saw this shot and when I saw him creating this shot, I was wondering if you were going to comment on the fact that the wings and the tail are cut off, or does that matter because the focus of this shot, literally and figuratively, are the eyes and the face of the insect? What do you think?
No, I think it works. I think it works fantastic, and for 2 main reasons. One, the tail, the body is so out of focus that we're not really drawn to look at that. And secondly, by intention, Joshua has drawn our eyes to the center of the image, to the eyes, if you will, by highlights and shadows. So it looks to me like we have a very subtle controlled either vignette or dodging and burning to bring our attention to the face of the dragonfly, which means the wings are sort of a secondary component because they're not too bright. And the background is the same way, being the background's out of focus and the wings are layered over the top of that. It's very easy to keep finding our subject, and our subject is those compound eyes and those legs. So
yeah, I agree. And I find myself, excuse me, when I look at the shot, I find myself leaning in because we very rarely see a shot of an insect like this close. And so I want to see more of this. So if we're going to lose, I feel like if we're going to lose the wings, we can lose more of them and focus in a little bit tighter on this area in here so I can see what's going on. Like, I want to know what is happening. What is happening I have no idea the mechanics of this face and how it works. So I want to get in closer and understand it more because it's fascinating.
Yeah, Eddie, welcome, Eddie. Eddie's asking, does the surface of the wood take away from the photo? I don't think it does because it's subtle. It's a subtle texture, so it doesn't really bother me. What I think might be helpful with an image like this is to remove some of those specular highlights. We'll call it on the nose. I don't know what that is, right above the mustache.
You're such a human. Everything has to be human.
I don't know bug anatomy. And then it looks like what we'll call it like 11 o'clock on the left compound eye. There's a circular. I'm gonna think that that's like a highlight from the flash or a strobe or the sun or something. I would probably take that out. Yeah, just to, yeah. But I have a lot of respect for what Joshua does with these. I know he's very, very, very intentional. So not knowing how the image started and what he's working with, but I think some of those specular highlights to me, I would pull those down.
Yeah. What an exciting little world.
I dig it. And, a lot of people look at macro and they think like, oh, that's a nice close up of a bug. It is freaking hard to shoot macro this close. It's really, really, really hard. So
it's like focusing with your leaning back and forth, right, to grab it.
Some of it is, yeah. Some of it is using like focus peaking. That's why mirrorless cameras are so great.
Yep. He says now that he's firmly in the mirrorless world, whereas last year this time was like, I don't know, what's a mirrorless camera? Who needs it?
No, I've had mirrorless for a few years. I had Sony, and then I upgraded to Nikon.
Oh yeah. Upgraded to listen to that. That was a nice little dig there. I like that. All right. Moving right along here. Thank you, Joshua. Low Base Guy. Make sure you check out Joshua over on Twitch. He streams regularly over there. Twitch.tv/Low Base Guy. All right. Next shout up is from Craig Colvin. Craig Colvin says, my take on personal space. Where the heck is this? I like this, though. I really like the geometry of this.
I love it. I really do. This is really amazing, and I love the the warm tone in the monochromatic image. I really like that a lot, because to me, a pure black and white tends to feel a little bit cold, and maybe that would lean more towards a starkness in this shot, more of a depression kind of thing. But I like the warmth just a little bit. I think it brings a little bit of comfort back into it.
Yeah.
Colvin says this is in France.
Oh, Ministry of Defense. Very cool.
Yeah, I like this. My only couple nitpicks on this image. Some of the markings on the wall, like above our subject to the right, I would probably clean up those little nicks. I would complete some of the lines that are missing. I feel like I would like to see that. There's a couple blocks. It's just ever so slightly, like maybe 2 rows to his left, the subject's left. And then just fix those those lines at the top. The vertical lines are great, but the horizontal lines are kind of skewing off, or just crop that top.
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Just crop that off, right? Just ever so.
Or distort it,
It just betrays the fact that it's got a little bit of a skew to it, but I love the diamond patterns that are on the wall, and then the grids inside those, grid within a grid, and then the horizontal yet skewed stairs, and then there's a human in there. So big win for me. Yeah.
Craig, there should be a nude woman in there, though. What's going on with this? Maybe Craig Colvin's signature. Watch, he's going to post one. He probably did do that. He probably went back and did more shots later. I like this. This is cool. This is really cool. I like the geometry of this shot. I like the pattern interrupted. We talk about that a lot in critiques. Right. The whole idea of interrupting patterns, rule of thirds. This is firing on all the cylinders.
Yeah. This is really great. This is really great.
Yeah. And I don't know if the scuffy wall or the marks or imperfections on the wall bother me as much as they bother you. I kind of like them. I like that it's not too perfect and not too pristine.
If there were more of them, like if it was part of the wall or something, I would say leave them. But I feel like because there's only really 2, top right and right above our subject in there, I would probably take them out. I don't know. That's personal preference. I struggle with that. If I was entering an image like this in competition, I would take those 2 marks out. I just think they draw attention. Yeah.
You know what I thought you were going to say, Troy? So we all know that you have a little touch of perfectionist OCD in you, right? Yeah. So I thought you were going to zoom in and focus on the missing line in this block here.
I did say that. Yeah, I said replace the line.
Oh, you did? Oh, I didn't hear you say that. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's a superpower. But
but to the point, because you noticed it, is it something that you want your viewers to notice? I would not
to distract.
Right. I would not want somebody to notice the line. So therefore, or the missing line, I'm sorry. So I would put it back. And then therefore, you don't pay attention to it. I just want you to pay attention to my subject, which is this guy sitting there, head down, whatever he's doing. Everything else that would take your attention away from that subject, I would fix.
Yeah. Hey, Craig Colvin is in the chat. He says, I spend an hour here waiting for people to leave. Yeah, the life of the photographer in a busy place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool shot. Yeah, I like this. I like that shot a lot. All right. Thank you, Craig Colvin. And moving right along to Stephen Scharf. Stephen Scharf is last but not least. Stephen says, theme personal space. We need some more commercial work around these parts. So my entry is a commercial lifestyle photo of my personal space, my stereo. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
That just looks like it sounds amazing. You've heard that. Have you heard this stereo, Troy Miller?
Yeah, it looks like he cleaned it up, or not cleaned it up, but changed the setup a little bit. So very cool though. I really love all the wood and the componentry that's in there. I think
this harkens back to a day like when I was growing up. My big brother was into stereo equipment. He had these giant, Marantz speakers or whatever. He had all this stuff. It was just complex, and it was like starting up a TIE fighter in order just to play a song. It was like that, but it sounded amazing. Like, it sounded amazing. And part of the experience was, I think for him, was the assembling of the gear and understanding, the componentry and how everything worked together, and upgrading this bit over that bit, and the right cables and monster cables versus this. And it was all that went into the listening experience. I wonder, is that world pushed up a level now? Because the more pedestrian listeners amongst us, which I count myself in, are, we have all our music on these phones and on Apple TV, and, we listen in our cars. There's like the whole experience of just sitting there and like, okay, I'm going to listen to, John Williams, play the Star Wars theme and hear it how it was intended to be heard. Do people still do that? I mean, as much as they used to. Obviously, they still do, but as much as they used to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do, and Stephen can answer to this. I think one of the things that we've lost, whether you go from like shooting film to digital, or you go from listening to analog like records to digital, it's the process in which it takes to get to the end, right? So the methodology of buying a roll of film, loading it in your camera, making sure it's clean, winding it properly. There's a lot of steps involved, right? So then when you finally start taking pictures, like you've put time in this case, like where he's got his turntable. The idea of pulling a record out, being careful to take the vinyl out, putting it on the turntable, cleaning it, that process, those steps to me have something to do with the experience. Yeah. So I appreciate that whole personal space. I love the image. I love the addition to the rug. I think somebody made a comment that the rug Eddie made a comment that the rug adds. That the Everest amp, the far left, was centered on that little wooden block. That's the only thing.
Oh, see that? Oh, I love that. That's that detail coming back again.
Yeah. But
So Stephen is in the chat. He says, I think this is in reference to how long it takes to start it up. He said, it takes about 1 minute for the tubes and the amp to warm up, and you're good to go. The device at the upper left is my digital streaming front end. Yeah, see, this is this is like some Jay-Z's music room level stuff right here. I can't. This is not my living room where I have an Apple TV plugged into a sound bar, right? This is the real deal. I love this. Yeah. So what do you think, Phil, on the merits? Obviously, we're talking about the audiophileness of this, but what do you think on the merits of the photo and its applicability to the topic this week?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it really fits into what personal space is. I mean, I think a lot of us can relate to the idea of music. It may not be obvious to a lot that what this stuff is, right? Because there's no speakers. The turntable is hard to identify. So somebody who doesn't know what this is going to have a hard time, picking it out. But to an audiophile or somebody else, they're definitely going to get it. So this is very niche-y to a particular community. So yeah, it definitely fits. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's just very interesting from my standpoint because it draws you in. You're like, what the? Clearly, this is some sort of, well, not even clearly. If you don't know, if you had no idea about what this componentry did, you'd kind of be like, what is this? What is this for? Especially if you're not brought up from a generation or a demographic that cares about this kind of thing, you just be scratching your head looking at this. But yeah, I think looking at it, like, who was it in the chat? It said somebody was saying that this is the Maserati. Yeah, that was Trevor. Trevor was saying, we're looking at the Maserati in cost right there. My wife wouldn't murder me in my sleep if my wife wouldn't murder me in my sleep. Yeah. That's pretty nice. So he's got the border on there and the key line. Does it work here?
Yep, it definitely does. And it ties in with the colors and it fits the theme, and, it's finished and it stands out nice against the stream, when we're looking at it, because we got this stark whiteness in the background, stands out nice. So yeah, definitely.
Love it. Well, cool. All right. Well, we're at the time of the show where we have to select a favorite. What do you think?
My favorite is Colvin's.
Craig Colvin's, let's see, where is it? This guy right here, right? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah.
It's wonderfully storytelling. It's whatever mood or emotion you're in. I think that you can relate, sympathize, empathize with this. If there was no human in there, it would still work. The graphical elements. So aside from the nits that are in there, my little nitpicks, I still think it's a very wonderful image. Yeah, very strong.
Would you use this background for a bride and groom engagement shoot?
God, yes.
Would it sell? Would it sell if you shot a bride and groom in this? Absolutely. Would they buy it?
Yep, absolutely. It would go big. Engagement shoot, wedding day, whatever. It would go big. This would be awesome. Yeah, I already know what it would look like. I see it in my head.
That's cool. Well, congratulations, Craig Colvin. You are this week's favorite. That's awesome.
Yay!
Very cool. All right. Well, we forgot to pick it last week and record the pick. So what's our topic going to be? I think you texted it to me. What's our topic for next week?
Plants.
As in, you like oil refinery plant or
see, I didn't even go there. No, plants as in the oxygen generating, carbon monoxide consuming ecosystem, environmentally friendly plants,
life forms. Hey, would fungi be considered a plant? It's kind of a plant and animal, apparently. But can it?
I don't know if that fits in there. I guess it's kind of like
fungus a plant? Is fungi a plant? Stephen Sharp, chime in. Let us know. Is fungi a plant? Can I? Because the reason I ask, because I've been on, like I said at the beginning of this, been on this sort of nerd exploratory mission on that whole universe of fungi. And so I go out in the back, I go for a walk yesterday. I come back in the middle of the front yard. There's a little cluster of mushrooms right there. I hadn't noticed it before, but they're sitting right there. So I'm like, I wonder what those are. Will they kill me or heal me? So,
well, in that documentary, it says that fungi are part plant and part animal.
Yes. Yeah. So
I can't argue with the experts. So
Steven says technically plants. I don't know.
Well, that's like the tomato fruit vegetable argument,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, what do you think? Is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable?
They're disgusting, so I don't really care.
You don't like tomatoes? What's the matter with you?
I hate tomatoes, avocados, sour cream. Yeah.
So you just don't like Mexican food then? That's what you're saying?
No.
It's all that stuff. Those are like three major food groups from the whole Mexican food cuisine.
Tomatoes can be in salsa, and they're not tomatoes, right? They're not. There's tomatoes in there, but I'm not really eating a tomato. I'm just getting.
So you can never take a tomato, like pluck it off of a plant, put some salt on it, and you would eat it.
I would rather drive a nail through my foot.
It's like that, really? I love tomatoes, especially little cherry tomatoes. You know, the little tiny ones.
No.
Hey, Trevor says, do not eat unidentified mushrooms ever. You might go on a trip, but a one-way trip. Yeah, I heard that. I read like in some areas people were doing that, or in an era back in the 60s or something, people were eating mushrooms that are just kind of wild that you find. And there are thousands of varietals of mushrooms that all do something different to you, apparently. This is on my learning comeback. But these mushrooms, if you just pick a random one up, it could literally cause psychosis, permanent psychosis, and all kinds of weird stuff that we don't even know about. So scary stuff, but really interesting. Really interesting.
Very interesting stuff.
You know, the other, before we leave this and in the critique, one of the other interesting things about fungi are the fact that much like cannabis, there's receptors in your brain that the cannabinoids connect to. Same thing with mushrooms, apparently. There are certain receptors in your brain that mushrooms excite and connect to and make your brain do different things or whatever. So it's really the biology of it all is really interesting. It's really interesting. Thank you, Trevor. I got to put Trevor's comment up on the screen. Thank you. Props to the tomato.
So a weird thing about tomatoes, I love the smell of tomato plants. They have an odor, and I love that smell. I love it. It smells like outside. It smells like the garden, and I love the smell of tomato plants. But I'm not going to eat a tomato. No.
But you can eat tomato byproducts. Like you can eat pasta with tomato sauce on it, right?
Yeah.
Or pizza with tomato sauce on it. You're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a tomato anymore.
But you're not going to have a salad with sliced tomatoes in it. Is that what you're saying?
No bruschetta. No.
Oh, what's the matter with you? All right. We peel another layer of the Troy Miller onion back every single episode. So now Peter Levson's going to watch this and have a box of tomatoes shipped to your house. You know, he would do that.
You showed your socks.
I did.
I get to talk about tomatoes.
I know. Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, cool. All right. We'll end it with this. Craig Colvin says, a mushroom walked into a bar. The bartender said, "We can't serve you." He said, "Why not?" He said, "I'm a fungi." Love it. See? That's my boy right there, Craig Colvin. All right, cool. All right, so we'll end this one. Next week's critique is going to be about plants, the kind that consume carbon dioxide and emit oxygen. They're living things amongst us. So plant in any shape or form, like it could be a tree, it could be a vine, it could be whatever, grass in your front yard. It could be fungi or whatever, right? So will you accept that if somebody somebody brings in a picture of a mushroom? Okay.
Remember, these images are going to be added to the year-end image competition, the first image competition, which, if the calendar works out right, will probably be on the 7th or the 14th. I have to work that out.
Okay. And we'll post a schedule at thisweekinphoto.com/events. Thisweekinphoto.com/events. You'll see, actually, if you go there now, you'll see a live stream of this here program that we're recording right now. But below the video embed at the top of the page, you'll see a calendar. There's nothing on it right now. There will be by the end of the day, but you'll see a calendar of all the upcoming critiques will be listed there, as well as the links and URLs to get to them. So all you got to remember going forward is Monday at noon, thisweekinphoto.com/events, and you'll see everything. So cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. So will you say we end this one and get on with the Monday?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, cool. That's the end of this critique. Thank you, everybody, for participating. All you folks in the chat, thank you. Make sure you give us some love on YouTube, a thumbs up or a like or something to make sure we feed the algorithm accordingly to increase the footprint of that channel. You know, I'm leaning into YouTube and Twitch.tv a little more over the next several months just to see if we can't move the needle over there. The podcast itself, the audio podcast health is really strong, but we're not so strong. I would even call it anemic on YouTube, and we're just getting started on Twitch. So I'm going to make some changes to the YouTube channel and some start streaming on Twitch to try to bring that up to kind of get it in competition with the audio podcast. So. All right, folks, that's it for this one. We'll see you next time. And remember, next week, it's all about plants. Peace.
Bye, everybody.
This is TWiP.